It's no secret that state governments in this country are terrible with large-scale infrastructure projects, none more so than Victoria's own Labor Party. The latest entirely unsurprising debacles they've wrought on us are the Melbourne Metro Railway Tunnel and the western half of the East-West Link, the eastern half of which they previously paid $1.1 billion to cancel after it had already been started. The western half, known as the Westgate Tunnel, was negotiated in secret by the Victorian Treasurer, who at the time owned significant shares in Transurban, the company who proposed the tunnel to the government. It was never taken to an election, never subjected to any serious cost-benefit analysis, and every single professional critic of the tunnel was shut out of the discussion. The few professionals the Labor Party could find worked for Transurban. In exchange for building and operating the new road, the government has given Transurban another 10 years of ownership of CityLink, the most profitable toll road in the country. This road was actually pretty close to reverting to public ownership too, which was due in 2025, and thus being funded by VicRoads, meaning Victorians would no longer have to pour almost $1 billion of their own money into this multinational corporation's pockets every year, just to drive on one of the state's most important arterial roads. One to which, by the way, there really is no alternative without losing full weeks in wasted commute time every year. But surprise, surprise, the entire project has now ground to a halt, with staff being laid off and tunnelling equipment sitting stagnant in a ditch off the M1 after finding contaminated soil under the Maribyrnong River. Not that any of this was unexpected, mind you. In Transurban's secretive pitch, they specifically mentioned their prized skills at handling contaminated soil in construction projects, noting they'd dealt with many such challenges in the past. But apparently there was a bit more of it than they expected, and the government's very own changes to environmental regulations mean the contractors are responsible for an extra $500 million in compliance costs, which they're just refusing to absorb. It's hard to blame them, but Premier Daniel Andrews also has a point when he claims they're simply trying to extort more money out of the government. And so, yet another major construction project in Australia grinds to a halt, guaranteeing a budget blowout and delays in completion, which means years and years of reduced operating capacity on the M1. Drivers will sit in traffic jams, cop reduced speed limits, and fight lane closures every day of their working life until this is resolved. But until then, the Westgate Tunnel has become just another bottomless pit into which the Labor Party will pour your money, all the while Dan the hard hat man claims the project is still on schedule and on budget. An obvious lie to even the most trusting voter.